Let's do it live on a Thursday edition of the program. Merely Bo at the Cross Country Mortgage Campus and in Gibbe's palatial suite at what I'm assuming is a Four Seasons hotel in Philly. We are joined by Andrew Siciliano, who joins us on the other end. Z will join shortly. How you living, buddy?
Oh, we're living. We are here in Casa de Gibbe.
God.
Nathan's across the hall. I think he lost his key again. He's doing some business, and he will be back here shortly after another hot and humid and just beautiful day. Bo, here in Philadelphia, where it is always sunny and always humid. How are you, more important?
Did you? What was your dew point, and when did you reach it this morning in Philly?
I'll be honest with you, it wasn't as bad as yesterday. Today
Okay.
was bad, don't get me wrong. But
Yeah.
yesterday, by the end of practice, and everybody was talking about it. Last night, this morning, by the end of practice, there was heat emanating up off the field into your soul. Almost like you were walking across hot coals on a beach. Not that I've ever done that. Or like you were standing on a hot plate. The heat was coming up through your soul.
I'm glad you guys got a little bit of a reprieve today. This was a massive practice. Massive. We got the news before, Kevin having, and we'll play some of this for you guys in a little bit in terms of what happened with Shedeur and where all of that stands. But this is a massive week for our quarterback competition, although we think there isn't probably much of a competition left at this point. But it's been a massive, it's going to be a massive 2 days for Dillon Gabriel as well in the entire roster. Let's just do big picture first. How did today stack up compared to yesterday for your Cleveland Browns?
Browns offense was better today than it was yesterday, and I think everybody agrees. Joe Flacco looked sharp. Dillon Gabriel had a touchdown. End of the practice to Harold Fannin. That was very, very nice. And by the way, can we just step back for a second? Harold Fannin was your star of the day. Even the Eagles writers are talking about it. He beat Andrew Makuba, the Texas safety, at one point, so 2 draft picks, same class, right near each other for a touchdown. Harold Fannin is the real deal, friends, and I'm not saying you have to go draft him in fantasy. But even Joel Bitonio talked about it after practice. Like, this guy is willing to put his face in the fan and take on a middle linebacker. He, as a rookie tight end, it's about being willing to block. He has already shown he is beyond willing to block. He's now proving he can be a pretty good blocker. And he's more than just that queen on the chessboard where you can move him everywhere. Like, we've seen him line up as an up back. Like, he could play H, he could play Y, he could play wherever. He was also in the middle. And you can go to Twitter for details, right? It's not going to be on film. No one's filming. But he was in the middle of 2 trick plays today. The key part in 2 trick plays today. So he is all over the field, and he is playing very well. So
that's
he's the
Swiss
star
Army
of the day.
knife, right? I mean, that's a Swiss Army knife versatility. And we talked about this a lot through the offseason. I know you've been keyed in on this too. Like, it was a little bit of surprise to go back to the draft that you didn't draft a wide receiver, a little bit of surprise. But really, the way the league is kind of viewing, whether it be tight end or receiver or running back, it's weapons. Do you have weapons? And what you drafted with Fannin was a weapon that can be used all over.
I'm sorry, Bo. I'm thinking of Nathan pre-draft. Weapons.
That's all we talked about was weapons. That's all we wanted.
Weapons.
More weapons.
Yeah.
We got one.
That is Harold Fannin, truly, and he had a really good day. And here's the most important thing I think about his day is that maybe the second play from scrimmage to start the day, Joe Flacco threw a laser. Fannin's lined up. I don't know if he was standing up or he had his hand down, but he was lined up to the right, ran up the seam, little in cut, maybe skinny post if you want to call it that, and Flacco put it on him on the goal line, and Fannin didn't catch it. Now, I spoke to Harold afterwards. He said that the DB, maybe a second level defender might have got a hand on it, but look, he should have caught it. He knows that. But after that, Fannin picked it up. Like, not the, hey, I'm a rookie, I'm going to go hang my head after I dropped a touchdown on the opening play or the second play. He had a great practice. Thought both quarterbacks looked good. Really, it was only Flacco and Gabriel taking any real snaps. It should be noted that Shedeur was in uniform and he was out there. Now, he wasn't doing anything, but he wasn't just back at the hotel getting treatment. The idea that he dressed out, I think, is somewhat encouraging, although I am not a doctor. Kevin said before, and I'm sure we'll play it later, that they're going to put him down for a couple of days. Maybe not the best choice of words, but
no.
We laugh.
Growing up where I did, I'm thinking
practice.
like my dad put a lot of animals down and they didn't come back.
Well, I mean, Twitter reacted to the quote appropriately, of course. He's going to sit out a couple of days, day by day. We will see, day to day. And Kevin was pushed like, hey, are you sure, Shedeur? Are you absolutely ruling him out? And he laughed and he goes, you know what, PR, I think used the right term. We'll go with unlikely for Saturday. But he also made the point, Flacco will not play. So this is not going to be if you're only down potentially to Snoop, does that mean you have to dress Flacco? Flacco ain't playing. And we will see. We'll see about Dillon Gabriel. He looked fine today. It's not my hamstring. He says he's getting better. And like we said yesterday, it's all about how you feel when you go back to the hotel. It's all about really how you feel when you wake up tomorrow morning.
Yeah, I think with Gabriel, I cannot imagine like internally how much he wants to play, right? Because he was drafted ahead.
Sure.
All of the dialogue is around Shedeur. You saw that massive audience last Friday. I mean, Shedeur is a celebrity. He's known. It's an easy point. It's an easy point of entry for any sports conversation because you don't have to explain who he is to non-football fans. Everybody knows who he is, so it's easy to do that. I cannot imagine how much Dillon wants to play and how much he's pressing to play. And quite honestly, I hope that he does. I think he needs to
wants
play.
him to play.
Of course, man.
The organization, you need to see him play. He was the 94th overall pick. Let's see him play. Absolutely. Shedeur got his shot, and Dillon gets his. You know, I was thinking more about the Shedeur thing last night, and coming in, we heard Sal Palantonio as a guest on 850 saying that he has the perfect mix, Shedeur does, of celebrity and good football and all this. When I was at NFL Network, I used to be a running joke where I thought a lot of my colleagues, and listen, I've said this to them, this is not taking shots. I think overall in the business, we overuse the word star. Like you'll turn on SportsCenter and go, bad news in Texas where star quarterback C.J. Stroud is out. You don't have to call him a star. What does star mean? It means famous.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean you're good at football. Like, I'd rather hear Pro Bowl quarterback C.J. Stroud is out. The news is bad regardless, but you're talking to a sports audience. They know, like, Pro Bowl means something to them. Star, what does that mean? It's like something TMZ would use, right? Yeah. Very often for a player that isn't a star, by the way. Shedeur is a star. That's different. Like, he has a star quality to him, a celebrity quality to him, and that changes this discourse. Normally when we say star, it just means famous. And a lot of football players, because they wear helmets, are famous in the football world, but they walk down the street, they're not going to get recognized, right? But this guy does.
Yeah. I mean, he does, and so then in the middle of all of this is Dillon, who this hamstring injury crops up a couple of weeks ago, and you were hoping you'd get to see him last week in Charlotte, and then the opportunity was there for Shedeur, and he took full advantage of it. And so I just hope that the opportunity is there for Gabriel on Saturday because I think he needs it. I think the team needs to see it, and I think that, quite honestly, it'd be good for the fans to kind of see how it looks like when he's running this offense the way that he wants. And honestly, and this is no disrespect to Snoop Huntley, who appreciate. I'm glad he's here, but at the same time, like, I've seen him play. We all have. The team has. Everybody knows what he can do. So in a way, if Gabriel doesn't play, then what do you get out of the game?
Correct. Yeah, 100%. Yes, I agree with you. Kevin loves Snoop. The team loves Snoop. There's a reason Snoop Huntley was the solo captain last Friday night.
Yeah.
That was almost like a thank you for getting off your couch and coming here and kind of bailing us out in a bind. But, yeah, having Snoop play a game, while it would be a great moment, you need to see the two rookie quarterbacks, and hopefully you can see Dillon Gabriel. I do think Gabriel really ended this practice on a good note. The ball to Fannin, beautiful touch on that. Hit Fannin just as he was crossing the goal line. That was a good ball. And he would have had another touchdown to Deontay Johnson. Him in the hands on the goal line. Johnson bobbled it, and it got picked. Okay. Also, didn't see a lot of Deontay Johnson out there. Caden Davis actually had some reps with the ones in the red zone early with Joe Flacco, so maybe something to monitor there. But, Gabriel could have had 2 touchdowns to end the session. Should have had 2 touchdowns to end the session.
And that's a massive improvement from yesterday, right? Because yesterday it was very rough. So our offense responded a little bit. In general, how did they go about their business offensively? I asked Z this yesterday. I think you had already ducked out, but I asked Z yesterday, like, what do you anticipate this looking offensively at our best? Because so much of it was built on Quinshon Judkins and the power run game. What does it look like when you don't have that hammer back there?
Well, it's different here. I think it was really good for them to get here to go against a 3-4 front, a different front that they're practicing against every day back in Berea. And you saw a little more movement, I think, today in the run game. Jerome Ford had a touchdown in the low red zone. Amani Marshall had what could have been a touchdown as well. He's been playing well. You saw him run well and block well on Shador's second touchdown last Friday night in Carolina. It's hard to get a real read when you are not tackling.
Yeah.
But the offense looked a lot more crisp, even though both they did not start that well. Like I mentioned, the Fannin drop, maybe 2 or 3 plays later, Brendan Bates, the tight end, had a drop as well, a ball that Gabriel threw to him. So there are a couple of drops there for Gabriel, one early and one late. But after those 2 drops, it's like they flipped a switch because drops were something. Kevin talked about it on the podium before the game, like before the practice. Yesterday, drops were a major issue, and the 2 drops out of the gate did not bode well. But then from that point, they turned it on. And defensively, Miles could have had 8 sacks, honestly.
So, yeah, that you always think about the 2 lines of scrimmage. How does our offensive line hold up against that defensive line? And then can that offensive line, no Landon Dickerson with them, although I'll get to him bringing some beer after practice, which I thought was just classic. But how did our defensive line, which has wreaked havoc for us, wreaked havoc in Carolina, did that continue again today in Philly?
Yes, in a big, big way. And not just the 1s, but the 2s and the 3s. Isaiah McGuire had a nice day when he worked with the 1s and when he worked with the 2s. Thought Mason Graham got in the backfield. He would have had at least 1 sack. There was one sequence late in practice where I think Miles might have had sacks on consecutive plays, although they didn't give him the second one. They let the play go. And on the next snap, he just kind of had his hands out because the Eagles ran to the line, clocked it, then got a playoff. And Miles was just kind of like going, come on, did I not get a sack on that? Why are we down here? And Jalen Hurts threw a fade to the back corner that Denzel Ward went up and one-handed it and took it down. He didn't pick it, but he knocked it down, battling with Devontae Smith. Denzel Ward was one of the top 2-3 players on the field through both days of practice. And what you saw yesterday, his work against Devontae Smith continued today. He had 2 lockdown days, and everybody saw it. He looked absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, and those guys all need to. Because that's the way this thing's going to be built. But that is amazing to hear that this defense has traveled now, because we saw what it does against us in practice, and we knew what it was going to do in Carolina. But this is the defending Super Bowl champions, and for them to have that type of impact is I think, very, very noteworthy for this team. Did you come out of these 2 practices feeling that your read on this team was accurate, or did this team make you feel better or worse based on how you feel about this team?
I was riding high on the defense before I got here, going against a very deep Philadelphia team. Now, A.J. Brown was not out there either day, but Devontae Smith was and Saquon was. They kept everything in front of them, and they got after the quarterback. Yes, I feel good about the defense. Look, corner depth is still an issue. I think it should be noted that Dom Jones, 37, undrafted rookie, who got in and made some plays in the fourth quarter a week ago, was running with the 2s a little bit yesterday. He also had a corner of the end zone PBU late in practice. Actually looked just like the Denzel play where he went up and kind of knocked it down with one arm. He is a name, I think, to keep an eye on in the secondary. But I also think, and look, it is my 2 big concerns are where's your wideout depth and where's your corner depth with MJ's injury. I think, I don't know for a fact, but I would assume that they would certainly keep an eye around the league at cutdown day for people to shake free from other rosters at both of those positions.
Yeah, I mean the MJ thing is it's brutal. It happens and you're out there when it happens. You don't even really And then you're on to the next day, right? But the reality is it starts to set in that he was such a big part of what you were going to do defensively and kind of everything that went with it. The other big development, and we're going to play his press conference a little bit later, but this is now week 4 of Kenny Pickett being limited. We've talked about this all week, but as Z said last week, it's getting late early here and in a big way. He did not participate in 11-on-11 again, and we'll play as I mentioned, we'll play the press conference for you, but obviously frustration for him. Are we getting to a point where it's kind of becoming abundantly clear Joe Flacco's your starting quarterback, as we've talked about all week? It feels like that's where we're at. And then for Dylan Gabriel, it becomes, can he show enough this weekend and beginning of next week to prove that he's the 2?
I think, to answer your question, yes, we are all but there with Flacco. I think it's a fait accompli, barring something highly unforeseen and unfortunate, that he would be the guy week 1 against Cincinnati. It is a good question. Can Pickett get healthy enough, or can Gabriel do enough, assuming he's able to go Saturday, to be the number 2? My gut tells me that, where are we today? What is today's date?
August 14th, buddy.
Okay, so we are still a full 3 weeks away. That if Kenny Pickett is out there doing 7-on-7, he implied today on the podium that maybe he's turned a corner, that he's, he could see the light at the end of the tunnel, as I mix metaphors here, on his recovery, but he was not ready to commit to being able to go next week. I think he's getting closer. I think if he gets there by September 7th, then he would have to be your number 2, but I could be wrong. Look, I mean, maybe Gabriel or maybe Shador, for that matter, if perhaps he could get back for the Rams game next Saturday back at Huntington Bank Field, maybe one of them could plant that flag as well. But Pickett did look good in the early portions of training camp and even in minicamp, and he said that today. It was the first time he actually admitted that he was angry about it. Like he said a couple of weeks ago that he was frustrated.
Yeah.
He said that he allowed himself 24 hours to be angry. He's like, the first 24 hours I let myself be angry when he got hurt. But then he just turned it to, but now that's over, and now I'm rehabbing, and now I got to stay positive, and I think I'm getting close.
Yeah, it just sucks. I mean, I remember Bernie interviewed him after the practice when it happened, and there was no reason to believe that there was anything wrong. And now all of a sudden we're into the 4th week. You had the comments from Hoff on the television portion of the broadcast on Friday, letting us kind of all know that it was a little more severe than maybe everyone was letting on. And now here you are 4 weeks into this thing, and it's just changed everything. And for him, your football mortality is flashing before your eyes too, right? I mean, not that long ago, he was a first-round pick, but you get old in a hurry, and now this was an opportunity to be a starter, and maybe that's one that's lost, although nothing official from coach yet. It's hard to imagine a scenario where it's anything other than Flacco. And now at the opportunity that's happened for Gabriel because of the injury to Shador, I mean, if he can play Saturday, he'll have this thing all to himself, all the while Kenny sits there. So it's such a crazy place that this quarterback competition, if it was one, has taken us with all of these injuries to everybody except the 40-year-old. I mean, we just have never seen anything like this.
Yeah, and I think, again, Kenny was pretty open and honest about this today. I can't imagine being in his shoes. He spoke about it a little bit because you're back here in Philly, right? I mean, he won a ring last year with the Eagles. He got in the game in the 4th quarter. This was his hometown team. He's a Jersey kid, but this is his hometown team. He was talking about going into the cafeteria these last 2 days here in Philly and saying hi to all the staff. And he said, the 5-year-old in him, like when he was on the field in the 4th quarter, was like, I just imagine like me, Donovan McNabb fan, and here I am, I'm out here winning a Super Bowl. If he had been healthy, and this would have been a legitimate stage and forum for him here these last 2 days to maybe win this job. And he's not. It's 7-on-7, and he's got to do point and shoot stuff and then just stand there and watch while Flacco and Gabriel Flacco and Gabriel yesterday, Huntley, do their thing. Yeah,
it's just wild what can happen over the course of the couple of weeks in the league. All right, let's put a limit on what you saw in joint practices. We spent a lot of time on quarterbacks, obviously, the trench play, all of that. Are there any individuals that popped? And I'm thinking bottom roster guys, depth guys. Is there anybody who had some noteworthy days here the last 2 days?
I definitely mentioned Dom Jones. I think he has. Seen a little bit from Chris Edmonds, but we saw him play 41 the safety a lot last week in Carolina. I thought it was notable that Caden Davis was getting some work. He scored the 2 touchdowns a week ago, and certainly we've talked about wide receiver depth. He got some work with Joe Flacco in low red zone early today in practice. Grant Delpit, you talk about pop. I know Grant Delpit's not a bottom of the roster guy, but I thought we might have a fight at one point today. Day 2, you normally have the fights.
Yeah.
Delpit laid a shoulder. It was a bang-bang play. He was coming at him. Ball was hanging in the air, and he laid a shoulder into a tight end right in front of me and Nathan, and we both went, whoa! But Grant got up, apologized, put his arm around the guy, and we had cooler heads prevail. But he's not a bottom of the roster guy. Let me keep thinking. Larvinan got a touchdown yesterday. We already know him. It's really, honestly, to me, it's about the young corners.
Mm-hmm.
Miles Harden had a pick yesterday. I think he has certainly been the better of the two between he and Cam Mitchell, but you would like to see both of them take their game to the next level.
Is there anything better in sport, and I know that you know this, being around a lot of NFL teams in your career, than the camaraderie and the brotherhood of the offensive line? And I say this,
it's awesome.
It's so cool. You swear, they're like all they are is stepbrothers. They're all velociraptors. Like they all have each other's back, no matter the organization. You see it, and to see Landon Dickerson show up with a cooler full of cans of beer, and then our guys suck down a few light beers after a practice. I mean, it was like a throwback. I mean, all you needed was Facenda and some classical music, and it felt exactly like everything you'd seen in old NFL films. But there's just something that is so pure about offensive lines, their togetherness in their own teams, but also, buddy, on opposite teams.
Yeah, I wish I had seen it. I had run over to interview Fannin. We had to tape Fannin for Inside Training Camp. That'll air later on ClevelandBrowns.com. And so I actually didn't see it, but I had a chance to talk to Jason Kelsey before, who is the star of the internet today, obviously.
He had a bit of a night, as it turns out. Yeah,
he had a bit of a night. We were laughing about that and trying to break down Taylor Swift's cover 0, cover 2, cover 4, and how much of that it's real. Like she's diving in now. She's a fan. Great to connect with him. But Brian Baldinger was there as well, my dear friend from NFL Network, and he is part of that brotherhood as well. He was out there today, so it was it was kind of an O-line kumbaya kind of feel to it today, which is cool.
I always tell people they're the guys who they're playing like at lunch they're playing shuffleboard together, like all of them, like they're just thick as thieves all the way through. So you talked to Jason. I mean, that's a bit of a night he had last night.
Yeah, his head was kind of spinning. We were talking about the numbers. I think at one point they had like 1.5 million, whatever, people watching live. I mean, that's absurd.
That's crazy, man.
And it is. I told him a couple of years ago. So go back. The Broadcast Boot Camp is a program that the NFL runs at NFL Network. Used to be at Films. It's been at the network the last couple of years, where both current and former players come in. And you put him through the motions and try to coach him up. Rodney McLeod did it before his final season with the Browns to get ready for media careers. And maybe 3 years ago, Jason went back and played another year, I think, or 2 with the Eagles. Jason was one of my partners doing TV play-by-play tapes. So we would stand there on a soundstage, and I would be the play-by-play guy. We'd look at an old game from the year before, and Jason would be the color guy. And within like 10 seconds, you're like, okay, he's got it. Like, we're good. And then at that point, you don't have to worry about setting the next guy up or setting the next play up or making sure. Like, I don't need to, at this point, try to make him look good. Yeah. Like, we're just having a conversation. He's got it. But we talked afterwards because they had just launched the pod and it was just kind of getting some notoriety. I'm like, could be teaching the podcast class. Because the power that he has, I think, in the NFL player community now, everyone wants their own show, but he's kind of like the North Star for players, and Travis too, but, for how to do your own thing. he should be teaching that class, and he is a leader and we'll go back to the word star, a star in that arena, and he is amazing.
Yeah, it was awesome. And now I understand that it did crash. I did not see it last night, but I understand it crashed about 45 minutes in or something like that. And they do have NFL games, YouTube exclusive this year. So
yes, in Brazil.
Yeah, I'm surprised. I was surprised it crashed, but it's them and it's her. You think they would have been prepared for those numbers?
I mean, sometimes you have somebody who is so popular that the internet can't even hold them.
Some would say she broke the internet. Well done, as always, buddy.
I will say this, though. The streaming games have gone well so far.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
If you go back a decade ago, the very first game that was ever streamed, if memory serves, was like the Bills before Josh Allen and before they got good when they were in that downtime. The Bills and the Jaguars, I think, on an early Sunday. I want to say it was a Yahoo. I don't remember. But, I do remember conversations behind the scenes where one of the reasons that those two teams were selected is that they didn't want it to crash.
Right.
Like they weren't going to put the Cowboys and the Eagles on the very first streaming game. You put the Jaguars on the first streaming game, and you prayed that you had a good audience, certainly, but that it didn't overwhelm the system. That was well over a decade ago. The technology and the infrastructure of the internet is far, far, far more capable now, and everything is streaming. But, YouTube has the Chargers and the Chiefs on the Friday opener, week 1.
Yeah. Be here before you know it. All right, great stuff. Those are your hot topics today, presented by University Hospitals, official healthcare partner of your Cleveland Browns. We mentioned Coach Stefanski and some of his thoughts before the practice. You will hear those coming up next. You listen to Cleveland Browns Daily. We're presented by Ballybet, official sports betting partner of your Cleveland Browns on 850 ESPN Cleveland. The Ultimate Browns fan, nominate a super fan in your life now with their chance to win 2 tickets, an exclusive trip to Super Bowl 60 in San Francisco. Visit thebrowns.com/fan of the year to nominate today. As Andrew and I were talking about in the first hour, a lot happening on the quarterback front. Before today's practice, Kevin Stefanski addressed many of these issues. Let's start with Coach on what happened to Shedeur.
Yeah, felt it early, I think warming up, and then felt it throughout individuals, so took a look at it. If it's a right guard, you can play through that. When it's a quarterback, you kind of need that muscle to throw. So unfortunately, going to put him down for a little bit here. We'll treat it day to day and see how he responds, but want to be smart because he's a thrower, so you can't push that thing.
Yeah, so the timetable on that is going to be an interesting one. Did you get any sense, Andrew, over there today, this morning, just what is, or just this thing's just kind of up in the air?
I did not. I mean, look, I'd be really surprised if he goes Saturday. I know Kevin didn't want to rule it out. He later said, "Yeah, I'll stick with unlikely," but it was kind of unlikely with a smile, not smiling at the injury, but I'll go with unlikely. But I don't get the impression that changed. Look, fingers crossed that maybe he could do something next week. You certainly hope so, because you get another national TV stage, you get a home game. And you would love to see him out there. But no, I do not have a real read, a real timeline. I do, however, Bo, as I'm looking at my notes, I forgot to mention a couple of other touchdowns.
Yeah.
Because they did get the ball in the end zone a couple of times. Pierre Strong had a low red zone touchdown. Gabriel had one early in the session to Jamari Thrash. That one was nice. In the final period, great battle, Quinyon Mitchell and Jerry Jeudy. Flacco hit Jeudy on a crosser. He was lined up on the left side and got across the face of Quinyon Mitchell, second-year corner out of Toledo, and he sprinted to the end zone. That was a nice one as well. And then Njoku had a late touchdown, and I thought, look, one of the best balls of the day was an incompletion. It would have been a sack. I think it was an 8-gap blitz. Flacco backpedaling. They would have blown it dead, and then he just backpedaling lofted this ball down the sideline. Like 25 yards high, arc, almost looks like a punt, and Jeudy ran underneath it on the sideline. Now, his foot was on the line. It wasn't a catch, but it was one of those like, wait a minute, how did he get over here, and how did that ball actually almost land in the bucket? So the quarterbacks looked a lot better today.
All right, Kev, the other one is who will play on Saturday. Is that in regard to who is going to play a quarterback? Is that the way that I should read that?
So that one is actually on the other positions. I do have a cut, but it's a little bit longer of the quarterbacks with the multiple follow-ups that the media had. If you want me to pull that one up.
Yeah, go ahead with that one, Kev, yeah.
Yeah, let me get that one pulled up. If you want to go with the thoughts on the offense versus Philly, I can play that.
Yeah, let's go with that.
The other one.
Yeah, that's fine. Let's go with that.
I thought the offense had some, when you're going up against a really good defense, particularly that front, not to take anything away from their back end, but their front is a very, very large, powerful front. I thought the guys had their moments, and then the Philly defense had their moments. But that's kind of what you do in these settings. Very rarely is it one side, both sides are kind of taking body blows, if you will.
All right, so very unlikely that you'll see Shedeur this weekend. Very unlikely that you'll certainly not see Flacco this weekend. My guess is you won't see any of the starters. But in terms of how the quarterback situation will be handled, here is some sound from Kevin on that.
We got to see how he does today and gets through. So not ready to say for sure.
What about Pickett today?
He will be limited, yes.
And if Dylan doesn't start, I mean, your only other option then is for Tyler to start the game, right?
We'll work through all those things. Obviously, Snoop knows exactly what to do, how to do it, so is ready to roll. We'll see who else is available, Mary Kay, but got to get through today before I know that.
Any chance you would play Flacco in an emergency
No.
situation?
So could it be a situation? Can you rule out Shedeur for this game? Because yesterday you guys said it was unlikely he'll play Saturday, but it sounds like...
I'll stay with unlikely, but yeah, he's day to day. So what's today? Thursday? So unlikely.
So could it be a situation where Tyler might play the whole game if it comes to that?
Everything's on the table.
All right, there you go. So this will just come down.
Your little exasperation there?
Yeah, I do, but it sucks. The whole thing sucks. I've never had when do you ever have two quarterbacks with hamstring injuries and another one with an oblique? I mean, it just is crazy what's happened here.
Joel Bitonio said on the podium today, and we were talking afterwards, he and I, he said, what's the record for most quarterbacks on a roster? I did some digging. I couldn't figure it out.
Yeah.
And he and I were thinking, like, long before the days of the 90-man roster, you probably could have brought 10 quarterbacks to camp. I'm sure some coaches did. So it's hard to truly get perspective on that. But, if for some reason you said, well, Gabriel can't go, and then it's only Huntley, you're not going to go sign another one, are you? I mean, we kicked that idea around. Nathan Zagura, ladies and gentlemen,
I heard him. Yeah,
has
there
now
he goes.
joined the chat.
There he is.
Yes, good to be with you. Oh, yes, you are there. Yes, thank you so much.
So
Yes,
we
yes.
just spent the last 38
Yes.
minutes saying how Philly kicked our butt up and down the field. We're not going to win a game. I mean, just brutal.
Erroneous.
That's not what we said.
Erroneous on all counts.
Said the offense looked good today. Picked themselves up. Harold Fannin, the ultimate chess piece.
Yes, the offense did look good today. I thought the defense looked good today as well. Our defensive line, I think, really kind of continues to be, to me, the story of this football team. That is the team that absolutely, or the unit that has stood out, period. Like, just period. It stood out in Berea. It stood out in Charlotte. And it stood out here in Philadelphia. And this is one of those where, you don't even have to take my word for it. There are plenty of people who cover the Eagles. Jimmy Kempski, who covers for the Philly Voice, he was saying Miles was the best player on the field. Brown was getting comical.
He would have had 8 sacks.
I said 20, but I'm prone to exaggeration. Maybe over 2 days he might have had 20. But, I mean, you could have said McGuire had multiple sacks. Cam Thomas had multiple sacks. Malik Collins was in there. Mason Graham was in there. Aiden Huntington was in there. Alex Wright was in there. I mean, it just was wave after wave after wave of, this defense just really kind of wreaking havoc. And I thought the offense, as the day went on in particular, looked better. In a game situation, it was a touchdown to Jerry Jeudy that they ruled him down. He would not have been down in a game. The DB fell down.
It was a TD.
It was a touchdown.
The one on Mitchell.
Yeah, on Quinyon Mitchell, and that was a great battle to watch those two who are at the top of their game. And, you get the touchdown to Njoku and the 2-point conversion from Flacco to Fannin to Sampson. And, yeah, it was a very good-looking operation at the end. I think both defenses won the day, if we're being honest. I think over the course of 2 days, or won the 2 days. But our defense in particular was big. And listen, I know there are a lot of people out there. My man Content Browns is dialed in. Elliot Shore Parks, who covers the Eagles, said that the Browns won day 2, dropping Sirianni and Jalen Hurts to 10-3 in joint practices in the time coverage.
This is
going to the judges' scorecards
yeah.
here.
He went
right.
Day 1, he said Eagles slight victory.
Okay.
He didn't want to even award a full victory. Day 2, clear victory for the Browns.
How did
10-9.
How have we not
10-8, some would say.
10-8. 10-9 yesterday.
Why have we not thought of this?
Oh,
this is gold. This is right what we're supposed to do. Like,
the quarterback track record is.
Of course, but like this is what we should be doing. Like we should be doing. Who won joint practice? I'm so disappointed in us, Z. All these years.
I know.
Wasted. How are we not awarding winners and losers of joint practices? God, awful.
We're 2-1. We're 2-1. And I think we're really 2-0-1 if we're being honest. We definitely won today in Carolina. That's not even a question. We won today. I think yesterday could have been a call to push. I'm a 2-0-1 record right now for the Cleveland Browns in joint practices in the Stefanski, Flacco, Sanders, Gabriel, Pickett, Huntley, Watson era.
Yeah, I think you got them all. You got them all.
Yeah,
Z, do you feel like we've obviously spent a lot of time talking about the quarterback situation. Do you feel like that by the time we get to Saturday, it'll be Dylan Gabriel?
Cautiously optimistic, and that's like when I say that puts me at, I'm going to call it 55-45 yes.
Oh, God.
I think
I was
that a
really
few days
hoping
ago
75.
it might have been 80-20 yes. I think that he's performed well. He's done everything, but I think that my sense of it is that it truly will be a game-time decision. I don't think we're going to sign another quarterback. I think that in the event – because obviously, look, he did 11 on 11s, right? Mm-hmm. In the event that he is not good where they're going to start him and let him play, like I think if they think that he can play, he'll start. If they don't think he can play, he will be the emergency, and it will be 4 quarters of Snoop. And in the event that I think Snoop were to get hurt, I think Dylan Gabriel would go in there and either kneel or hand the football off from the shotgun, and we will leave.
So if he doesn't play Saturday, it'll just be for health reasons?
That would be the only reason he would not play Saturday.
That would be it.
Yes, is that they were worried that he could do more damage to that hamstring. If he is good to go, he will play, and I think he would play a significant amount. And I think you would want, kind of similar to what we saw the first week with Shedeur. And I think let me tell you something. That is the hope. That is everybody's hope.
Yeah.
That's Dylan's hope. That is Kevin Stefanski's hope. That is Andrew Barry's hope. That is everybody's hope, is that Dylan Gabriel can get out there. And today, Dylan did not have a great day. Missed some throws that, we probably would normally have made.
But you agree he looked better than yesterday?
Well, I kind of liken it to a golfer that was off, maybe bogeying some holes they should have parred here or there, but then 18, stripe it, hit it to an inch, tap in birdie, because his last throw is a 20-yard beautiful corner to Harold Fannin.
Well, he also had the touchdown drop by Deontay Johnson.
Yeah, that was a 2-point conversion. Yeah,
whatever it was.
Yes,
It is a ball thrown to the end zone.
That was perfect.
Okay.
Yes, yeah. So that's what I'm saying. He ended, I thought, and that's what, that gives you, when you're a golfer, that gives you confidence. Like, I want to go. I love golf.
See, he also had he had the throw to the tight end Bates that was dropped earlier in practice as well. That was a short one. Don't get me wrong.
Sure.
He
was better today than he was
better
yesterday.
Today. We can agree on that.
But it was, all I'm trying to say is praise the last throw
absolutely.
being, hopefully that is a momentum builder, because that was in a competitive situation. And that was, God, Ted Browns. He just tweet the legendary Nathan Segura has us now 2-0-1 in joint practices. Oh, that's tremendous.
See, we blew it. We should have been doing this for.
Yes.
God, I'm so mad that we weren't doing this from the jump. We could have been doing this the last 4 years.
I think we need to do it with judges' scorecards, though, and like you were saying,
of course,
boxing, where we call it 10-9, 10-8.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that would be.
Yeah, we could do it by period. What are we doing?
And we need
split decision.
Harold Letterman in the ring.
By the way,
Letterman in there.
And I would say we're gonna dock the Eagles 1 point for the absolute power of their audio system.
Oh my God!
There
takes a lot for me.
There are
deaf.
going to be a lot of people whose hearing that were at these two joint practices, if you were positioned anywhere or walked at any point in front of those speakers, whose hearing will not be the same as it was before they walked in front of those speakers. I'm telling you, it was nuts. It was nuts.
All right. One of the other big themes of the day was, once again, Kenny Pickett was out. But he did address the media. We will have that for you coming up next. You're listening to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Fans, enter the Dog Dash sweepstakes presented by Milk-Bone for a chance to have your putt compete in the ultimate annual dog races, not hot dog, just dogs, during halftime of the Browns versus Dolphins game on October 19th. Grand prize, 2 season tickets for the 26th season, Milk-Bone for a year. Visit clevelandbrowns.com/milkbone to enter. And now we head to the podium. Presented by Vivid Seats. Purchase your official fan experience package today for the ultimate game day. Here is Browns quarterback Kenny Pickett.
Kenny, you've obviously
You're down 7 minutes.
for plenty last season. Where have you seen them over these last 2 days make the biggest advancement in their game?
Yeah, I was talking to Q a little bit in between some of the periods. Just his understanding of the defense now, being a year in, having a full year of experience, and then kind of understanding what offenses are trying to do, attacking the defense that they play. So I think he's done a great job. He obviously was phenomenal last year for them. I'm looking forward to seeing how he does this year.
How are you coming along with the hamstring, and where are you at, and what's the outlook?
Yeah, I feel like I'm turning the corner a little bit this week, which is really positive. I was able to run a little bit more yesterday, so I'm getting there, just taking a day at a time. Obviously it's extremely frustrating. I'm only be able to get like 7-on-7 lately and some 1-on-1s, but just focus on trying to take advantage of those as much as I can.
Do you feel like next week you should be able to, knock on wood, be able to get out there?
I can't say that yet. It'll be close.
Have they told you, hey, anything can still happen, and keep your head in this competition because it's not over yet? Is that the narrative?
It was never even mentioned. I think we're all just going a day at a time. Going through camp. They'll make that decision whenever they want to make that decision. But I'm just trying to put my best foot forward on the reps that I do get right now.
How did it feel being back here?
It was great. It was great. You have a special season like that. You kind of build a bond with people for life. So being able to see everyone that I played with last year, coaches, trainers. I went in the cafeteria and saw all the people back there, and you got to give some hugs. So it was great. It holds a special place in my heart for that year. Really glad we were back here for this camp to go see everybody.
We haven't had a chance to talk to you really since the Super Bowl. What did it mean to you to be out there late in that game?
Yeah, it was awesome. The 5-year-old in me would have been going crazy. Back in the day. I remember watching Donovan McNabb. All those old days when he was making his runs, and to be able to be a part of that team was awesome. Having my parents there, my family, my wife. It was really cool.
You were obviously a big part of that quarterback room last year, especially with Terry McKee. What have you noticed in his development? Do you still talk to him? Just how's the relationship?
Yeah, we just talked a little bit yesterday and today. I think the system, I don't know if it's changing or a little different. Just kind of talking through some of those things, talking again about our defense that he was playing out there today. Tanner's an awesome guy, man. I know he's going to do a great job for them. He's prepared for it. He's a true pro, goes about his business the right way, so really happy for him.
Kenny, how bizarre is it, or I don't even know if that's the right word, but after you get injured, then Dylan gets injured, now Shador is injured, and just this whole 4-way quarterback competition took these unexpected twists.
Yeah, it's a wild game. It's football. Everyone. I got my own problems to worry about. I'm just focused on my recovery. You never want to see anyone go down. We all want to be out there competing, so it's a tough deal. But I know each guy's trying to get back out there and be 100%.
How has, Kenny, I don't know if frustration is the right word, but I think you've mentioned it a couple of times. So just managing that part of dealing with the soccer.
Yeah, I try to give myself 24 hours to be as angry as I could be, and then just turn the page. Every day, doing as much as I can. It truly is a 24/7 grind to try to get back 100%. So I'm doing absolutely everything I can. Hopefully, I can push it to get out there. I want to be smart, but at the same time, I want to be out there competing. So you're kind of like walking that fine line.
I know I think you talked about this back in the offseason, but just the experiences you had last year in Philly, what ways have you brought that to this team, this locker room, this quarterback room?
Yeah, I think I talked to Tommy a lot about what we did last year, and I think he does a great job of looking at what other teams do, what other systems and concepts have been really successful for other teams. And he asks me a lot. He'll be like, "What were your favorite 5 from Philly? Favorite 5 from Pittsburgh?" I'm sure he's done the same with Joe. He's just always looking to make the system better and put our guys in the best places to succeed. So, I think we go back and forth on a lot of the things that we did. We pull up tape. We kind of go through it that way. So we have a quarterback room with a lot of knowledge and experience. With Joe and Deshaun's played a lot of football too. So, I try to add as much as I can. So I think that's probably the main way.
What were you really excited about in terms of your progress in those first 4 practices? It seemed like you were really coming along there.
Yeah, I felt I think I touched on it before. The 5 weeks at home, I really just dedicated to studying the playbook and going through it on the field. Training hard, being in the best shape that I felt like I have been in my life for the competition. So I came back ready to go. Obviously the injury is unfortunate, but I feel like I'm keeping that same thing in the 7-on-7 reps that I get. Just trying to be as accurate as I can be, make the right read, and move on to the next play. So that's really my mindset right now.
Kenny, I'm sorry if they asked you this, I just walked in, but you know this Eagles defense better than anybody on the team. And from your vantage point, watching your offense these 2 days, how do you think they did overall?
I thought they did a great job. I thought, there's positives, there's negatives, there's always going to be that. We definitely want to clean up the pre-snap stuff. Something the coaches are harping on, that we need to get cleaned up as an offense. But I thought it was a good battle for both days. I think there was highs on both sides. There were some lows on both sides. But the competitiveness, the want-to was there. I really liked the way we competed. Guys were going at it, so it was a positive.
Especially in a setting like this, how much are you staying involved in the conversation with the other quarterbacks?
Heavily. Yeah, as heavily as I can be, because I'm not getting those reps. I kind of stand in the back and go through the checks, go through the cadence. Trying to steal as much as I can, and then when those guys come off, I try to help them out too. Tell them what I saw, ask them what they saw, and kind of talk through the play. Then you have the meetings again to go over that and kind of have that open dialogue. So it's been good from that standpoint.
I know you have your own issues to deal with, but did Shador, seek you out a little bit just for any kind of consolation, or did you have any words of advice for him for the oblique thing that happened yesterday?
Yeah, I mean, we're in the training room together and we just talk about it. I mean, he's awesome. He's got a great attitude about it. He'll be back out there, as soon as he can be, just like I can. So I really like his attitude and how he's going about his business.
Kenny, Harold Fan had a big day today, especially he had a drop early, kind of came back from it. How have you seen him progress, and just having two big targets like him and Njoku, how does that help?
Yeah, I think we have an unbelievable tight end room, obviously, with Dave. Everyone knows what he can do. But Harold's really stepped up. I'm really impressed with the intensity that he's such a quiet guy. And then he goes in there and really competes hard, and he'll take on a Mike Backer and run plays, and a DM one-on-one. He'll take him on with no problem, and then go out there and run great routes. So I'm really impressed with Harold and what I think he can bring to this team, if he stays on the track that he's on right now.
All right, there you go, Kenny Pickett from the podium, presented by Vivid Seats. Purchase your official fan experience package today for the ultimate game day. Coming up next, second hour of the program, Z has proclaimed us 2-0-1 in joint practices. Some of his other nuggets as he opens up his copious notes. We will get to that. Andrew is going to go one-on-one with Jamari Thrash. You are also going to get Joel Bitonio from the podium, all here in the second hour. You listen to Cleveland Browns Daily. We're presented by Bally Bet, official sports betting partner of your Cleveland Browns. Please bet responsibly. Fund your fandom with the Valley Bet Sportsbook app. Download today. Get 50 back in bonus bets. You place your first wager of 10 or more. Valley Bet, official sports betting partner of your Cleveland Browns. Z, so how good is your guys' internet there in the old hotel?
Oh, my God.
Siciliano here, Z's here. Gibby keeps trying to do these Zoom things, and I'm like, you guys, your service sucks.
I can't even get in on the Zoom.
Yeah, it stinks, and I hate it. AOL just retired, apparently, the dial-up sound that was a big part of many of our youths.
Oh, my God.
That sound is no longer, it's done.
Really?
Yeah, that's all. It's a retired sound now. But that would be the sound that would tell you about the quality of our current internet situation here.
I'm literally getting notifications
on a wheel.
There you
running
are.
around
There's
in circles. A mouse on a wheel. My laptop right now, we're on the Zoom.
Yeah.
And my laptop is running off my phone as a hotspot.
And
because that's the only way to get enough internet current through my laptop to get on the Zoom.
Stupidity at its finest.
Your
There's
Shane
Gibby. Hello, Gibby.
Hi. Sorry, I was trying to let all of you into the Zoom, but then I got knocked out.
Of your own Zoom?
Yeah.
So,
I'm surprised. You
of
don't,
my own Zoom.
With all of the vacationing you do, I'm surprised you don't have Four Seasons points, Gibby, that would allow for free internet. At your Four Seasons.
Exactly. Yeah, well, actually, I can tell you, the internet that you're currently doing the Zoom on cost me $15 a day.
Oh,
you like special super
gotta get some
Bonvoy where you
some
got
status.
That? No?
Get a little status.
No. I want you to know that bill will still be here on Saturday when I leave.
Because you're not getting internet, baby.
I'm not paying for anything. I'm not paying for anything because I'm sorry that your internet sucks.
Tell him, Gibby.
Number one. Number two, we have. I don't know what you got.
Hello.
There
we go.
We have coaches downstairs that are like, "How's your internet? Is your floor better than my floor? I'm going to come to your floor." Coaches.
You know where we have great internet?
Cats and dogs.
Where?
Right now at the Cross Country Mortgage Campus. Internet's fantastic.
It's because we're not there.
That's probably true.
Because football's not there.
Football's not there, eating up all the bandwidth.
I think it just it follows us around.
You could watch anything you want right now with this stuff. It's amazing.
I almost took I tried to actually crawl behind the dresser here in my room and try to get the TV off the wall because there's actually a router back there.
50-inch TV.
I saw, but Gibby, if you look here behind this dresser, you could see the router.
You can see it.
But I couldn't get you could
here,
see
do you want
it.
to pick up we can move this
maybe
thing.
I get a cable there, but you can't get to the router. Trying to hardwire this thing and it's not working. Nothing is working.
Well, the good news is you guys are only there 2 more days. So there you go. That's very exciting. Z, you were off doing your various jobs that you have right at 1 o'clock, and Andrew and
Respect
I kind of
the show.
Andrew, no, I have no respect. Andrew and I kind of broke down everything that from his perspective that he saw. He spent a lot of time on the quarterbacks. As you dig into your copious notes, what were some of the bigger themes today for you, other than the fact that you have now proclaimed us 2-0-1 in joint practices?
That's right, documented. It's really hard in these situations when there isn't tackling to evaluate the running games, and I think that's true for either team. One of the things that we always talk about is, yards after contact per carry. And the good runners are, 2.5 and above, and usually over 3.5 yards per carry after contact. In these situations, once you take contact, it's that's it. So it's tough to see the running game. I did think we had a few plays that were blown up in the backfield against us. We blew up a few plays of theirs in the backfield as well. But there were some runs where Jerome Ford was able to get on the edge on a toss sweep, or Dylan Sampson made a nice cutback and had some space that I think could have been big gains. Amani Marshall had one that looked like it could have been a touchdown in the low red zone.
Pierre Strong got in the end zone, too.
Pierre as well. So there were some good things in the running game. It's just really hard to know. And conversely for, the defense, it's hard to know if we really would have locked them down. I will say this. So Andrew and I were in between the two fields as things were kicking off, and we had to move far away from those speakers. Not kidding. We had to get away from those speakers. So we're way kind of in the middle in the mix. And the Eagles running backs were going through their warm-ups. Saquon Barkley is to running back bodies as Miles is to defensive end bodies. They just look like different species.
Different.
He is so big and solid. A.J. Dillon is now on their team, the former Green Bay Packer, for his quads. I mean, both of these guys. It is quadzilla.
Saquon with the calves too.
Just his whole body. He's just it's normal proportion, but just bigger and thicker and more explosive.
If Saquon and Aaron Rodgers ever played together, the best set of calves in the NFL, those four.
Oh man,
is a Kyle Brandt topic here? About the calves?
Yeah.
Aaron, when we go to Pittsburgh Week 6, assuming Aaron Rodgers is still playing quarterback for the Steelers and not Will Howard or something like that. Look, Aaron Rodgers, it looks as if he has two basketballs for calves.
All right, I'm going to say something. I'm going to give you a few guesses here, and I'm going to eliminate my good friend, the Big Daddy Scotty Monaco, who is the mayor of the Cleveland Cavs, because he has the biggest Cavs I've ever seen in Cleveland.
Sorry, I thought you were dropping a wrestler. That's
No. And I'm sticking to Greco-Roman, amateur wrestling, when I'm discussing double leg takedowns. But the biggest calves I've ever seen on a human relative to the rest of their being belonged to a Browns. I think he may have been. He's either general manager, I don't know what exactly he was, but also who worked for the Eagles.
Ray Farmer?
No.
Was
also the Eagles president, I think, back in the Andy Reid days.
Joe Banner?
Joe Banner.
Joe Banner has big calves?
I think Joe Banner could dunk a basketball on a 30-foot hoop. His calves look like they are nuclear bombs.
I did have that on the bingo card.
I'm telling you, I bet he could levitate.
4 inches taller than Joe Banner.
Yeah, but you have normal calves. He has the biggest calves I've ever seen on a human being in my life. His calves, it's like literally there is a basketball in his, and he has small legs, so it looks even bigger. Joe Banner, I used to tell people all the time, there are a lot of people who I don't work at the Browns now that thought my calf commentary on Joe Banner was hilarious because it's true, and they'd be like, what are you talking about? And then I'd be like, go look. Go out to camp the next day. They'd look and they'd be like, what the heck? I'm telling you, Joe Banner might have the biggest vertical on human record.
Him or that elevator guy who's for the Globetrotters who would dunk at 11 feet. Those are the two we're going for. Between those two.
Dude, 11 feet. He laughs at that.
I asked Andrew this. I'll ask you this. You have it in your head what you think this team is, and then you get a joint practice in Carolina and 2 in Philly. What changed about what you thought this team was 10 days ago, or did much of what you thought this team was it confirmed over these last 3 joint practices?
Not to quote Dennis Green, but yeah, they are who we thought they were. I mean, I think that this team is going to be what I thought it was going to be. We didn't let nobody off the hook. 2-0-1. Quite the contrary. They're on the hook. Dominant defensive front. I still have questions about the third cornerback position. Carson Schlesinger and the linebackers look very good considering that they're supposed to be Jordan Hicks and JOK out there with them. Grant Delpit and the safeties look very good. We're going to be a really good defense. It's going to be led by our front. I believe we are going to be able to run the ball. Obviously, we all want to see Quinshon Judkins back soon, but you can see that. And then with Joe Flacco, we're going to be able to hit big plays off of play action. Like Flacco wasn't going out there, as I talked about yesterday. It wasn't, ding, 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 ding. But when he did connect, they were big plays. He had big plays to Judy every day in joint practice, whether it was Carolina, whether it was day 1 here, whether it was day 2 here. That is going to be a lot of what we did. I think David Njoku is almost starting to ramp up into regular season form. He's caught touchdowns each of the last 2 days. And Harold Fannin we're going to live a lot in 12 personnel. There's nothing I've seen that's dissuading me from that. So in many ways, and I think today and yesterday's where you really got about 60 plus number 1 reps for really to show what the starters was, that's what's going to be. Great defense. We are going to be able to, I think, harass quarterbacks. If we can be a team that plays with leads in second halves, I think we should be able to close. And we're going to have to run the ball, and then when those shot plays are there, we've got to hit them, and that's something Joe Flacco has done, throughout his career. And even when it was the Browns' nemesis, how many games were there where it's like, oh, you're holding them down, and then all of a sudden it's Flacco to Torrey Smith for 70 yards, and you're like, oh, how did that happen? And then they win the game.
Yeah, I mean, that's what he does. That's his MO, and he can still do it. The question is, how long does that formula work? And that's not maybe a now conversation. That's a September conversation. But right now, barring something highly unforeseen and unforgettable and unfortunate, it's going to be Joe Flacco.
Yeah,
I think it'd almost take an injury to Joe Flacco to prevent that from happening at this point.
For week 1?
Yeah.
Yes, I think so.
I hope the run game is fully operational by week 1. That's what I'm not concerned about. That's what I need to see.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's so hard to get a real evaluation of that. Now, I think that we're going to see, at least briefly against the Rams, a look at what we're going to be. Now, I think there probably, though, within that, there will be people you do not need to see. I don't think you need to see Miles or Denzel or Joe Bitonio. That's something else I want to point out. Denzel Ward is playing at a level where, yes, Miles is the best defensive player on the planet and the best edge, but I think at the end of the year, if Denzel Ward continues where he was last year, I think he was disrespected in the all-pro voting.
Yep.
Led the league 19 passes defensed. If he has been so good, like he vaporized Devontae Smith, who is a very talented player. I mean, just like a magic eraser. Goodbye.
Yep.
You're not there anymore. They went to him big play after big play, broke him up. He was right there the whole time. He looks better than ever. I will say, when I talk about this defense, though, Miles and Denzel, like, they get hurt. We do have a lot of, guys on the D line. I'm just saying.
Shush.
Fair, fine. Those cannot be lost.
I'm knocking on wood in Cleveland.
I mean, there's some things you just don't talk about.
Listen. One of the great, I think there's a sport, baseball, they're calling it. And I think there was a discussion before the end of the no-hitter that there was talk about it from the man himself.
What was the talk?
Oh, it was referenced on that broadcast.
Are we going to go down
by the goat?
Are we going to go down this road? There's no such thing as a broadcaster, James.
Well, then what are you telling me to be quiet for?
Well,
you can't have it both
ways.
ways.
We're talking about health. Health and a no-hitter are two vastly different things.
Oh,
vastly different things.
So there's a broadcast jinx for health,
but not for.
I'm broadcasting. You're saying now I'm affecting their health, but you can't affect the no-hitter. You can't have it both ways. I'm sorry. The next level is next. We will see you getting ready for the game in Philadelphia tomorrow at 1.
Like this idea that Gavin Williams – wait a minute. Did somebody up there on level 4 just say that I hadn't allowed a hit? It's not that I'm at 121 pitches, the most pitches ever thrown in a Major League game this season. No. It's because that guy up there said something. That's why I gave up the hit. Yes. It's because some guy in a studio in Los Angeles mentioned that this kicker had never missed before.
Well, you're agreeing with me.
2,000 miles away.
Yeah, you're agreeing with me.
Oh, God.
Segura one stupid.
A 1-0.
Concept.
I thought they're coming in. This is a shut up, and now it's stupid.
I didn't call
I think it's 2. I think you might be 2.
I did not call you stupid.
Luis Segura 2-0. Absolutely.
I said the
idea
right. was stupid. Yeah. The idea was stupid.
He's gotten to 2-0
now.
Did
you say 2 more days?
I think he's got 2 more. That's
2 more days?
Maybe 36.
That's awesome.
48 hours, something like that. Trying to decide.
Not enough alcohol.
Yes. Did you guys have a nice meal last night? Did you have a nice meal?
Oh, we had an amazing
meal.
Was this the rice with the goo?
Madre de Dios.
This is Zahav. Yeah, we went to Zahav, which is it's Israeli food, and it's James Beard.
Utterly phenomenal.
It was. I came in lofty expectations. I've heard about this for years since we've been coming here. We finally got.
What's the name of the joint?
It was incredible. Zahav.
Zahav. I'd gone with the Hoff many a year ago. 2021, actually. We were here for a Thursday night affair, and we had a big group and went over there. And I've been talking about it ever since. And we got in last night, sat at the bar. And, Troy
was the man.
Our bartender, sports fan. We had a good conversation going, and it was a tasting menu, Bo, where we could order between the two of us, share 4 items. That was it, 4 items. Our guy, Troy, brought us the entire menu.
We had everything.
And
we ate it all.
Yeah.
And he was very pleased with us. And we were very pleased with Troy.
He kept bringing out more food. Like, what is this?
There's like, you
very
guys are
interesting
here, and
menu. So just for our audience, there's
the opener with the bread and the hummus and dude.
It's Middle Eastern food.
It was one of the greatest things I've ever had in my life.
In the beginning, and then that's when your bread comes. Then you get what they call mezza, which is the choose one.
Like Greek.
So we got to pick, because there were 2 of us. We got to pick 2 of the 5
What'd you
or
go
6,
with?
And they were like, no. We went with the Campachi crudo and the heirloom tomatoes. We were told they were in season. They were very good. But then they brought us the cauliflower. They brought us the beans.
Oh
and
my
they
God!
Brought us. There was a third.
Supposed to pick one. You got 5.
We got them all.
5, yeah.
And then what was your main? What was the main? Because
side.
there's a branzino. We got oysters, chicken, steak, swordfish, eggplant. What did we do?
Went with the lamb.
We went with the lamb, which is 72-hour lamb shoulder that's smoked. As soon as I think, I'm like, is this smoked? You better believe it was smoked.
Oh, baby.
Pallet still got it in a pomegranate sauce. And then because they they also brought us a steak kebab.
Oh, my God.
And it was delicious.
From the left side.
The skewer from the left side. And then this rice that was like a rice hockey puck that was delightful, especially when you mix it in the like greens and the tomato broth.
If anyone knows Persian food, the rice that they basically cake into the bottom of the pan, you you almost burn it on the bottom. Not burn it, but you cake it into the bottom of the pan, then you scrape it off the pan. And it's got this crunchiness to it. You put some raisins in it. It's utterly amazing.
Oh,
yeah.
It was A+ all around.
And did you do a dessert?
And then they had something. They
brought us
all
every
three.
dessert.
So the one that's got grapes on it tastes like peanut butter and jelly, but it's ice cream. It was nuts.
That's
the peach sorbet,
peanut
absolutely
baklava
delightful.
ice cream. Peanut baklava ice
Yep.
cream with and then a
With
pineapple sorbet, and then you also got a
That's
custard.
outdated. It was a peach sorbet last night. It was a peach sorbet. Last
Bo,
night.
I woke up in a food coma. You know when you get the alcohol hangover? There's not an alcohol hangover this morning. I had a food hangover this morning.
Still
He's texting me. He's like, dude, I feel so full. I was like, I feel great.
You're twice my size. Okay, we ate the same meal.
Yeah,
you have twice the room to put it.
Rule number one:
Yes.
you cannot keep up with Z or with Joe Thomas.
the Hoff.
I
Hoff's
can't.
another.
Joe's another.
Both of
He's
those.
another
Z
level.
Z
He's
can
another
stay in the
level.
vicinity, but Hoff's a machine.
I'm in the conversation.
That's what I said. You're in the
Yeah.
vicinity, but he's another level. I don't
I
think
think
it
that
would
was
be
Zeke's
safe.
favorite thing about me was when he would watch my giant plates of food, and he'd be like, how does he eat all that food?
You have 80 pounds on me, dude.
Deke. Just loving the food.
80.
That's great. The great Deke.
Yeah. I know, but then he's telling me he was so full, so we get on the bus and he's like ripping
This morning,
and he's ripping oats and fruit.
It's fruit and grains. That's all it was. Had to have a
Whereas I'm
breakfast.
like, don't eat again until lunch, and then we get to the place and we're walking around and we go to get cold waters, and Siciliano's like, well, I better have a cookie too. Grabs a cookie for the ride. I'm like, you can't be that full. You're doing fine.
Chocolate chip cookies. If you ever put a
you're
chocolate
living.
chip cookie in front of me, I
Can't
will.
say no.
Bootsy, last night for us at dinner, Bootsy was adamant. Z, you'll appreciate this. He was adamant about having a raspberry sorbet, and the other items were like a warm chocolate chip cookie and ice cream, and like desserts that I knew would be sorbet's fine, but to me it's like how you viewed spumoni. Like it's fine, but if there are options,
Hold on a second.
the other ones are better.
Hold on a second.
And he got that sorbet, and NBC had the warm chocolate chip with cookie, like in the kettle, with the ice cream and all that. And I'm like, that's there's
like
no
the
way that
cast iron skillet.
That's it. I go, there's no way that sorbet's keeping up with that. There's no chance.
Skillet cookie. Well,
But
here's the
Bootsy
thing.
finally
If you
came
think
around.
a good raspberry sorbet. Now, when I was a young man and I'd go to my Nani and my Nanos, that was the dessert. We get the great beef soup, and then dessert was Haagen-Dazs sorbet.
Yeah.
But you can't have the raspberry sorbet alone, I don't think. I mean, you can, but I think it's best when you also then have a couple scoops of the Haagen-Dazs French vanilla or whatever.
Well,
your
there
ice
you
cream.
go. That
Mitchell's,
mellows
go to
it.
Mitchell's, get a raspberry sorbet with the vanilla, and oh my goodness, that's a treat, because then it starts to melt, and now it's turning into like this soup that is a kaleidoscope of red raspberry.
Well, you get the mellowing too, the vanilla mellows.
Yes.
His new move now is when he orders, because my thing is you can order that, but you have to eat all of it. So his new move, and same thing with his drinks. You can have this drink, but you have to drink all of it. So his new move is, here, oh, this is good. You should try this, Dad. You want to try it? No, just try it. That's code for he doesn't like it, but he wants me to drink or eat some of it so that there's less for him to consume. So I called him out on that last night. Oh yeah, you want it? Dad, try this. It's real good. Oh, it's interesting. Normally, because if it's something you really like, you never offer it up.
When I was a kid, I had to, for whatever reason in my mind, I remember we had peas a lot of times, and back then I don't think they really had mastered like peas. You know, you get like overdone peas, and
They're probably out of a can.
Terrible,
mushy.
terrible. So we would have some peas, and I'm sure my mom's listening, and she'd be like, oh, they were great peas. They were not. And I would have to eat all my veggies before I could get up from the plate, or even begin to think, get to be allowed to think about dessert. And so I got really good at, with peas, I could spread them out so it didn't look like there were a lot. And then as people would go by, boom, slap that one right off the plate. Boom, that one's off the plate. And yeah, of course. And then, you have the vacuum cleaner to take care of it. But one pea at a time, people don't notice it. If you try to slide
it's true.
a handful of peas off, No, but 1 pea at a time, and then I'd sometimes there'd be mashed potatoes, and I'd try to build like a wall of mashed potatoes so they couldn't really see what was going on my plate, and then I could hide behind the cover of mashed potatoes to get those peas out of there.
That is fantastic.
And now I love peas. An English
They're
peas
a
is a
delight.
delight. Split pea soup with a
Love
nice,
a split pea.
with a
Come
nice
on.
a nice ham hock.
Oh,
is
it's a
real
delight.
treat.
I love that. Absolutely. You know what else is a real treat? Andrew Siciliano with Jamari Thrash. That's coming up next. You're listening to Cleveland Browns Daily. It's presented by Bally Bet, official sports betting partner of your Cleveland Browns on 850 ESPN Cleveland. If you're a fan of the Bally Bet Sportsbook app, download today, get 50 back in bonus bets. You place the first wager of 10 or more. Bally Bet, official sports betting partner of your Cleveland Browns. This is from last night's preview show. Andrew interviewing wide receiver Jamari Thrash.
Jamari Thrash.
You're down 4.5.
And I didn't do 2 hours of joint practice with the Eagles. How was it like, or what was it like, to work against another team for the second straight week?
It was a privilege going against, the Eagles, coming off of that Super Bowl win, they got the championship mindset, and all they know is grind, and all we know is grind. So it was good to go against, another team this week.
What'd you learn? Can you compare this practice to last week's practice? How do you think you guys did?
Really just dealing with the weather. We battled a little bit of fatigue, so I think that's just going to help us, moving forward into week one. So really, that's really just battling against ourselves.
That's the crazy thing. First couple of weeks of camp, back in Berea were crazy, and then you had, the clouds come in. Like, week 1 could be anything against the Bengals. Week 1 could be 95 degrees. Week 1 could be like 65 and raining.
Especially in Ohio, so you never know what you're going to get in Berea.
So this is unlike last week in that you get a second day of work with the Eagles. What did you guys do today that you would like to improve on in day 2?
I'd probably say just starting out fast early. I feel like we got off to a slow start as an offense. But
why do you think that is?
Probably just fatigue, probably just being in the weather, in the hot sun. But I think that's something that we're working on now, just coming together and fighting through a lot of stuff.
You said fighting. I'm not trying to predict anything, but day 2 is usually when it gets a little heated, especially with this kind of weather. What do you think of that tomorrow? I mean, obviously, I'm sure Coach is going to say avoid it.
I think tomorrow will be a smooth day tomorrow. I don't really think there'll be any altercations or incidents tomorrow, but I think tomorrow going to be just like how today was. A lot of competition, a lot of guys ready to get after it.
They got some pretty good corners, some young ones, some veteran ones here. Who did you enjoy working against the most?
I went against Cooper DeJean a lot today, so probably going against him because, he's a young stud. So probably going against him was probably the highlight of my day.
He's got some speed.
He all right.
I hear you. All right, let's go to the game here coming up on Saturday. How do you think you did against the Panthers, and what are you looking for against the Eagles?
I think I did pretty okay against the Panthers. Really, my biggest thing really just making sure that, and then going into year 2, I think I'm playing a lot faster. So really just making sure I'm aligning the sign and sound with my assignments.
Let's talk about that because a lot of rookies say that like year 1, like you don't even know like where bus is, like where the treatment is, like what time lunch is. How much more comfortable do you feel overall?
I feel a whole lot more comfortable because like last year, I was sort of like running around like a chicken with my head cut off. So I was still trying to feel my way through the building and on the field. But this year I feel like a whole lot more confident. I'm playing a lot faster. I got a little stronger. So yeah, my confidence is sort of, I don't want to say through the roof, but it's a lot higher than it was last year.
I think we've seen that on the field. Do you feel that on the field?
Yes, sir.
You're in a weird spot, too. Not weird, but like as the guy in his second year, you're the veteran who does know where to go, but you're still also trying to make your name. Yeah. You could be like the leader for the young guys like Gage or Luke, but at the same time, you're still trying to prove I can play here. What's that balance been like for you?
I mean, I really just try to take everything a day at a time. I just try to be with my feet at. So, whatever I can install into Gage or Cade or Keyshawn, I try to install, some of the stuff that was installed to me last year. And I'm still learning from guys like Sid, Jerry, DeAndre Carter. So, I don't think I'm too big to still learn from those guys. But at the same time, I take my knowledge and try to pour it into the young guys.
In the offseason, which I know feels like, 10 years ago already now in the dog days of camp, what'd you work on the most getting ready for really a huge opportunity for you this year?
Really, the one thing I worked on was making sure I understand coverages and my hand strength. Because last year I think that was my biggest issue was catching consistently. So this summer I just made sure I just got on the jug machine, caught from different quarterbacks, and really just understand the different coverages.
Last thing, my good friend Steve Smith Sr., agent 89, my former colleague at NFL Network, when you were coming out of Louisville, he was a huge Jamari Thrash fan. Did you get a chance to connect with him last week in Carolina?
Yes, sir, I did. Steve Smith, he's unk. So, whenever I get an opportunity, I call him and talk to him about anything, whether it's football or just life situations. When I met him during the draft process, he's always just stuck beside me and, let me know the ins and outs of the business and the ins and outs of the league. So I know he's always a friend I can always call. Or really, he's like my uncle for real. So whenever I need anything, I can always call him and just talk to him.
He's a good uncle. Did he give any notes after last week's game?
No, I didn't talk to him after the game.
Well, we got this week's game as well, and we got air conditioning on the bus as well. Jamari, thanks for taking the time, man. Talk to you later.
Thanks for having me. Thank you.
All right, there you go, Andrew, with Jamari Thrash from yesterday's preview show last night. Guys, I know we'll do like the probably a real look at where the 53 stands tomorrow, but let's just do a couple of brief minutes here on the receiver room, Z. What has impressed the last couple of weeks in joint practices in that position? Where are their concerns?
Jerry Jeudy has impressed all along and certainly looks like he is ready to pick up where he left off last year when, went over 1,200 yards and went to the Pro Bowl and was one of the elite receivers in the NFL. So that I like. Cedric Tillman, I would say, has done yeoman's work. Obviously, he's physical in the run game as a blocker. We haven't really seen him, I would say, make a lot of splash plays in this camp, but has made some tough catches over the middle. Thrash has had his moments. Deontay Johnson can still get open. He has had his moments. DeAndre Carter has had his moments as well. Gage Larvidan and Caden Davis, who are the stars of the first preseason game, they've made plays. Luke Floria, obviously, I think somebody who'll be back on the practice squad. But it's a room where I still think competition could be brought in. And then the other way I look at it is the guy that we've been talking about kind of ad nauseum, and I can tell you he has been considered by many in this organization to be one of the main bright spots of the offseason is Harold Fannin. And I think Harold Fannin, we're going to live in 12 personnel. So Harold Fannin's going to play at times. He's going to play slot receiver.
Yeah.
Other times he's going to get split out all the way wide like he is a wide receiver. He's going to be, moving and pulling. And Andrew and I were on the bus with Joel Bitonio, and he certainly has earned the respect of the vets. He's very excited about him, not only for what he can do. He thinks he's a very good football player as a pass catcher, but said that, he's willing to come around and pull and stick his nose in there, and they like him. He's competitive, and he has been very, very good. And I think when you look at the receiver room, Harold Fannin, not a receiver, but he is going to be in that role a lot, and that makes me feel better, I think, a little bit about that room as it stands.
All right, there you go. Great stuff. We'll do the further breakdown, look at that 53 in-depth tomorrow, heading into preseason game number 2, coming out of the second week of joint practices, these being done in Philadelphia. Joel Bitonio from the podium coming up next. You're listening to Cleveland Browns Daily. We're presented by Ballybet Sportsbook, official sports betting partner of your Cleveland Browns, on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Elk and Elk Serious Lawyers, serious injuries. Call 1-800-ELK-OHIO for a free case review. Elk and Elk is proud partner of your Cleveland Browns. Now we head to the podium, presented by Vivid Seats. Purchase your official fan experience package today for the ultimate game day. Here's Joel Bitonio.
Joel, it looked like Landon.
You're down 7.5.
The strengths for you guys out in the practice field, was that the perfect end to two 90-plus degree days?
It looked like a Gatorade can to me, but no, it was a nice gesture. The O-linemen suffer together sometimes, so it's always a bond. Even on other teams, we respect each other's games and stuff. So it was a nice gesture.
Joel, what's it like going up against Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis?
Yeah, great players. Their whole interior, 97 is a good player too, young player ascending. But all three of those guys are great players. They play hard. I think Jalen Carter obviously was one of the best D tackles in the game last year, and Jordan Davis has slimmed down and is playing hard. So it's a good challenge, but it's great to do it in practice where, you can try something. If it doesn't quite work right here, not to try that in the game.
How about Moro Jomo, who Landon said has kind of an awkward build in the best way possible, long arms and all that?
Yeah, it's what I was 97 referring to. I couldn't pronounce his name, so I didn't want to butcher it, but I appreciate that. No, I got to go against him a bunch. He's, like you said, he's for his size, really long arms. He's pretty powerful. I think his key is how hard he plays and how good he knows the game. He's on the backside of a play. He's not going to stop, runs games well. And he has more power than you think. He's probably 290 or 295. But he'll bring a bull rush as well.
Joel, what's the state of the run game right now?
Hard to tell in a practice where you're not tackling. I think the couple times we've been live in our camp and stuff like that, they've had some good things. We know the Eagles' defense is, a great run-stopping defense. They've done some really good things, obviously Super Bowl champs. But there were some good moments. We had some good pops, and usually, it's run game. There's one play that, misses a block or something, and it looks bad. But for the most part, I think it's coming along, and I think we're getting to a good point.
Is this a good couple of days to test that out, though, just because it is a different front, a different defense than what you guys used to?
Yeah, they're a 3-4 base defense, run a lot of penny fronts and stuff like that. So our defense is very 4-down or 6-1. And for us to get a chance to go against someone else and some great players is a good time to test things out.
What was sort of the big takeaway when you guys went back and looked at yesterday, kind of broke it? What did you feel like you needed to improve on? What was the biggest kind of things?
I think for us we had too many MAs. I think we had 70-some plays, and there was a lot of MAs, and we were like, hey, if we're not going to even give ourselves a assignment correctly, we're not going to have a chance here. So just playing a new defense, seeing a few looks that we hadn't seen on film yet, and just understanding hey, we can communicate up there and find a way to pick it up correctly.
So did you knock back that Gatorade on Landon?
Yeah, no comment on that. Yeah, I thought it was a Gatorade, so that's what I drank out there.
Joel, I know you didn't watch your guys' defense
Yeah.
much, but you've gone against them. They had two of just pretty strong days creating pressure. What's it been like going against them, and do you feel good about that you guys have held up against a pretty good front all of training camp?
Yeah, our defensive line we know is going to be the strength of our defense, and one of the strengths of our team. Anytime it starts with Miles, it's a good thing, and then Malik and Graham and all these guys, all the DNs fighting for that spot. They're really pushing each other, I think, to be the best. And so it's a tough group. And the way they play is just a little bit different than most teams. They penetrate. This team will two-gap sometimes. They'll penetrate sometimes. So it's a good challenge for anybody. But, yeah, we've been going against them. We know. The guys that have to block Miles in practice tell, show us the effort because he beats a lot of guys. You know what I think you saw today, two of the better tackles in the game. And he will compete with those guys every play. So it's always a good challenge for us.
Joel, at this stage of your career, you're sometimes out there, sometimes not, sort of navigating that just to kind of get ready for the season. How much do you feel like you guys have mastered, both you and the team, how you get your body right so that you're sort of set for the season stuff, but you're not doing too much?
Yeah, we're at a good spot. With these preseason games, you get a kind of a little buffer. So I went pretty much all the plays the last couple of days to really get that humid grind. At the end of practice today, you're like, oh man, I'm, catching my breath out here. But it's a good mix. I know in season we'll find a way. I don't mind practicing. I enjoy practicing. It's just we got 17 games too, so it is a mix that we have to try and figure out.
So how big of a difference does it make? Last year left tackles were injured. They weren't out there in the spring and summer. How much of a difference does it make that you've been able to have DeWand out there kind of all spring, all summer, and really kind of get things together over there?
Yeah, you hope all season long you'll have the same guy next to you because that's who you've been working with. And he's trying every day to be the best version of himself. And there's tough days and there's good days, especially with Miles, that he's out there battling. So it's good though, because you want to work the double teams, you want to work the communication. I thought today, like in our 2-minute period, we had a couple twist pass offs that were really solid. So it's just taking those steps and continue to improve those.
What have you seen out of Mason? How have you seen Mason get better? I mean, now that you guys have started to really go live.
Yeah, he's explosive. I think his football IQ is like tremendous. You know what I mean? Like he knows football and knows how to make plays. I think it took him a couple weeks because he's a 2-gap shed guy in college, and now he's penetrating and our defense likes to say FSU, and so he's learning that. But from what I've seen and what I've gone against Malik most of the time because he mostly plays over me. Yeah. But I've seen some big improvements. I think his pass rush has improved, and his ability to kind of wiggle out of blocks is pretty impressive as well.
Joel, what about DeWand and just playing next to him as much as you have? Where has he grown in that left tackle spot?
Yeah, he's getting more comfortable. I think naturally he feels like he's a right tackle, but it's like, hey, with your position, we want you to try left, and he's developing there. But it's really the growth of like really competitiveness and fighting through tough plays. Like everybody knows they're gonna have tough plays, but he's trying to grow as a player in that sense where it's like, hey, I had a bad play, we got to play the next play. It's a 60-70 play game, but he's doing a good job in that. And I think this was a good test where it was hot, it was tough out here, new guys, and he was really fighting through it.
Joel, with all the quarterback injuries, it looks like it might be shaping up to be Joel for the dress rehearsal and for the week 1 start. Based on what you saw out here in these practices, how do you feel about how the offense is shaping up potentially with Joe as your QB?
Yeah, we have faith in the room and the coach's decisions, but we've been around Joe, and he's done a great job for us. Let us play us a couple years ago, so we have all the faith in him. Obviously, we hope all our quarterbacks aren't banged up, kind of how it is right now. But I think he's shown that can lead this team, and his poise and his confidence in the huddle is what you'd expect from an 18-year vet. So we have all the confidence in the world, whoever they put out there. But Joe's obviously been the healthiest guy, and kind of our option right now.
You've seen a lot of quarterbacks in a lot of quarterback situations. Have you seen anyone quite like this one in training camp, where you come in with 4 and suddenly there is still a scarcity?
Yeah, no, I have not. I was wondering what the record is for like most quarterbacks on the roster at one point, with Deshaun and Snoop, getting up to 6. So I was curious about that. But no, usually, they don't really get hit or anything. So usually the quarterbacks are the healthiest in camp. They're tough day out there, and it's like, was it? But no, it's definitely an interesting thing. But I think Coach Stefanski and the staff have really done a good job of navigating it, trying to get guys reps, and when they're healthy, get them out there.
All right, there you go. Joel Bitonio from the podium, presented by Vivid Seats. Purchase your official fan experience package today for the ultimate game day. So much more to come. You're listening to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Tomorrow will be the walkthrough, and then Saturday at 1 o'clock will be game time. Browns and Eagles. You're not a betting man because it's against all of the rules that you've signed when you're an employee of an NFL team. But if you were, what do you think Saturday will look like for us in terms of participation? Who?
I sure hope it looks like Dylan Gabriel starting a quarterback, because I think that is so key to the evaluation process and development process that you want for that position. Beyond that, I think it'll look very similar to what we saw last week. I think that there could be some guys that we saw last week that we don't see this week. There could be a few guys that we didn't see last week, younger players, guys still on rookie deals that will be starters that you could see this week, maybe some veterans as well. So pretty much the same. The guys that you don't want to see, you won't see. I can say that pretty confidently. And in terms of guys we want to see, and in this case, it's Shedeur Sanders. We won't see him. Won't see Kenny Pickett, but fingers crossed, hope that we get to see Dylan Gabriel out there, just because
2 minutes.
For him to get those opportunities, Andrew, and you didn't have this quarterback competition to have Snoop Huntley play an entire preseason.
No.
As much as you love him.
And I love him.
Yes.
That's just the reality of it.
Yeah. He had his moment last week, and we thank him for that, and I hope he gets an opportunity somewhere else in the NFL this year where he can.
He deserves it.
Yeah, he can hopefully get on the field. But I need to see Dylan Gabriel. Would love to see this team run the football effectively in the first half as well this week. I mean, when the Panthers kind of had waved the white flag last week, got the ground game going, certainly the second half. Let's see some production of the ground game in the first half this week, regardless of the QB.
What's the meal tonight, boys? What are we doing?
Oh, yeah. Nathan?
Kalea, which is the Thai place here that was James Beard.
Rice goo? Is this rice goo?
Ago, if you remember. Yes. Yes, it is. Rice cake with goo. And the goo, I went.
1 minute.
There could be some dumplings. This place is unbelievable.
Bo, if I had $1 for every time he said rice cakes with goo in the last
$10.
48 hours,
you'd have $10. You could buy maybe a bread plate there. Who knows?
Because you're telling it to other people, not just me. I'm hearing it from across the bus.
That's double in the daily allotment.
Yeah. Well, $10.
Gibby!
That's not much.
Gibby from the top rope!
Wow.
Gibby from the top rope!
Gibby, where's my envelope? You haven't given me one yet. Okay.
The next level is next.
30.
We're back tomorrow. Cleveland Browns Daily,
Show's name of my fantasy
850 ESPN Cleveland.